it's helpful to know that I do need to hit 2 buttons to go live. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 4th Business Boardcast. It's a play on words, of course, BoardCast. And thanks to Nigel Elks for the suggestion of this name, because we're loving it. Welcome to my cheeky friend over here, Pete.
Hiya. Hello.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Fridays. Yes, indeed. So, yes, I hope you're all sitting comfortably. As always, we're going to be super strict, only 30 minutes. We're going to Zoom, but we're not on Zoom, but we are Zooming through EVP today. We're going to... Pete's an expert. He's going to go through various different things about it. As always, please say hi. Let us know that we're not just talking to ourselves, although it's fine. I'm fine just talking to you, Pete, isn't it? It's not a problem.
I could quite happily have a pleasant 30-minute conversation with you, Nicky, and everyone else can just listen in.
Yeah. If you need to be outside sunbathing instead, it's fine. You can catch up on the YouTube. It's okay. But anyway, so we've got comments, so you can just put in, say hi to check we know that it's working onto LinkedIn. And we will be asking various different questions. And also, please ask us questions. Well, particularly ask Pete question on this, because it's not this isn't my expert area at all. So yes, please do ask questions and say hi as we go. Lovely to see you all. So thanks, Pete. So good week.
A marvellous week, yes. The sunshine just makes everything easier and brighter, doesn't it?
Yeah. Much easier. Well, as you know, so before we get into EVP, as a lot of you will know, I've been walking a lot this week. I've been outdoors in the morning. Pete often phones me, or whenever he does phone me, he seems to always phone me early, which is fine because I'm an early bird. But he caught me mid-walk a few days ago. The consequence of which was my walks are, I go as far as I want to go, the halfway, and then turn around. Because I was chatting away to Pete, I went further than I intended to. So I'm really sorry I was late for my meeting with Luke. So apologies. So... Anyway,
my fault. Entirely my fault.
It is, but it's fine. It's fine. If you need extra mileage, just have a call with Pete. So okay, super. So EVP, why EVP? What is it?
Why EVP? Well, what is it as well? So, what is EVP? Employee value proposition. It's why should somebody work for you rather than somebody else? It's what's in it for the employee. Now, the obvious thing is money, and I'll talk a bit about exactly what makes up an EVP, but that's basically, it's like the whole package, not just the wage. And the reason EVP is so important is kind of twofold. It's always been important because having a clear EVP that's well known in the market means you're going to get the right kind of people coming to you. It's going to be easier to recruit. I looked up some research before I came on the show. There was a Gartner piece of research that said when 50% of the labour market is aware of and views your EVP as attractive, you can see a 50% reduction in the premium on compensation that you have to pay to get people in during a tight market. So it reduces the costs of recruiting. It helps you have lower compensation costs. People will work for more than just money. You need to hit the minimum, but they will work for more than just money. And at the moment, 57% of recruiters, and this is from another resource, say that it's really, really difficult to differentiate their company from the competition. EVP helps do that. It means there is a reason to come to you and not whoever's down the road that basically does the same thing but is offering $1,000 more or 500 quid more. There's a lot more to the package. So EVP makes it easier to recruit. You get to the right type of people. And that's obviously super important at the moment because the labour market, which I never like that phrase, but the labour market is really, really tight. Worst since 1997, I think I saw a Guardian article say. There's just so many perfect storm factors that have come together. Brexit, we've had people are still on furlough, so they're not in the labour market.
Yep.
You've got
that's still over 3 million.
Exactly, yeah, huge numbers still in that space. You've had a labour market growing for a while as well, shortage, especially skilled labour, and now there's this sudden surge of demand. 18 months worth of demand released in 3, which is creating a huge amount of opportunity. which needs people, and they are simply not there, as I said, that combination of factors. So right now, it's really hard to get people to come and work for you. It's hard to get people to leave where they are, but it's harder still to get them to come to you and not someone else. So EVP will help with that as well.
Okay, so a question to those out there that are watching live. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, sorry, I can't answer so quickly. I can't see in the future what you're going to write. So if you are watching at the moment, do you know what your EVP is? To my audience, do you know what it is? Because I'm not 100% sure I know what mine is. So, I'll be interesting to hear. I feel like I do know part of it, but I don't think I'm necessarily good enough at explaining it enough as yet.
Yeah.
So that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. I mean, you will know your EVP because obviously I know you've been hiring recently some fairly senior leadership positions, haven't you?
Yes.
So you've been talking to people. You've been talking about I
must have known it somehow.
You must have known it somehow. And this is the thing.
Yeah.
That everybody has an EVP. There is a reason all of your employees are choosing to work for you and not somewhere else. That they're not all just been sucked out by a naughty recruiter dangling an extra 500 quid or something. So,
I mean, I certainly know. I know that for a certain section of my team, I know clearly why they're with us. Their EVP, why we're able to get some really high class people. And we're able to punch above our weight is because. And which is a bit different now, but we've always been extremely flexible on part-time workers and when you're going to work, when you're not going to work, and all of that. And yeah, I mean, everybody seems to do it now, but we've always done that. So that's how we've managed to attract some of our top team. Sorry, going on. But
quite all right.
The other thing is part-time workers. A lot of places, yes, they're very good at having part-time workers, but there's usually a ceiling for them. Whereas we I don't care whether somebody's working 10 hours or 40 hours. There's still the opportunity for them to progress.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, we'll talk in a second about what makes up an EVP.
Go off on one.
But I want to just pick up on what you were saying. No, because I think it's important. Part-time work, flexible work, they're popular for two reasons. One is obviously what it means to certain people's life and the work-life balance they're trying to create. But the other thing I think that a lot of people miss is that the only way a company can successfully offer that type of work is if they are very, very outcome-driven. So they know what is asked of somebody in a role, and it's clearly defined what success looks like and what it doesn't. And anybody who's ever worked in a business that's the opposite of that, that's hours driven, I don't care exactly, I don't even sure what success looks like. I just need you to be at your desk doing your work. That's
presenteeism,
micromanagement, the presence of flexible working and, as you said, sort of part-time working, those kind of things indicates that you've got a decent management mechanism going on in place in your business. So I think that's the other reason that a lot of people miss, because that's what people want. They want empowerment. They want to be trusted. The research on this is decades old. I listened to a great speech by Simon Sinek, podcast, I think it was, and he said, we've known what motivates people for 30 years. You can't get research grants on motivation anymore because everybody's like, no, we know what that is. It's just nobody does it. It's not money is the hint at the end of that.
No, of course.
Yeah, so I think you were right to bring it up because it means a lot to a lot of people, not just because they don't want to work, because they want to be trusted to deliver the things you want them to deliver in their way, and that's what it indicates. But anyway,
so out there, do you write in the comments? Do you know what your EVP is? But any comment on, or no, I've not got a clue, please help me, whatever it is, any question, no problem. They always seem to flurry in. People start getting confident once one person's put a question, then there starts to be a flurry, doesn't it, Pete?
Always happens.
Come on, who's going to be the person that's going to start the trend?
Bite the bullet.
The early adopter.
Well, what might help is if I sort of outline briefly for me what an EVP is made up of.
Definitely, please do.
Excellent. Right, so EVP, I break it down into 4. There's lots of different ways of cutting it. I like to keep things simple. So number 1, there's what you might call the basics. So the wage, how much are you paid, the holiday. One of my pet hates is when someone says 23 days holiday is a benefit. It's like the statutory minimum you have to offer. It's not a benefit, it's legal
I never
requirement.
go on to that. I find that all very bizarre.
So, the core, what are the kind of things you write in the job ad that people want to know? Pensions, all of that stuff. So put that aside. It is important. You have to offer a minimum. If you are massively out of market whack, then you won't get people no matter how great and funky everything else is. But as long as you're in the zone, that's job done. Tick, move on. The other area that I think is super important, these are kind of, for me, in order of importance, is development opportunity.
Yeah.
So people will take a pay cut for an opportunity. I work with a lot of recruiters. This is where a lot of my knowledge on this one comes from. The number of headhunters I've spoken to who've said they can winkle people out to take a step down because the opportunity to grow is higher. And that's a big, big part of what you're looking for. So development comes in many forms. You talked about part of your business, what the EVP is and others. Development means different things to different people. Early in the career, it's about training, either professional skills or personal skills, management, that kind of thing, communication.
So having a solid graduate training program.
Whereas for mid-tier, it might be more of a mentorship coaching opportunity. We have a program.
I'm going to write all this down.
Exactly. I'll send you the slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, easier.
I'm recording. I can watch it later.
Oh, yeah, you just watch it back. You've also got the mid-tier phase where it is that coaching, but opportunities, giving people access to projects, getting them to work on it, making sure that everybody gets a fair whack at that, or are rewarded with access to things that are above and beyond perhaps their grade to do. And then beyond that, you've got helping people develop their own professional reputation. So you could have a big part of what you do is you arrange for the senior team, regardless of the exact position, to appear as guest speakers at various shows, to take part in podcasts, to appear on webinars, driving that sort of awareness, which is theirs, and should they ever leave, they take it with them. So development is hugely important to a lot of people. After development, in my personal opinion, comes culture, which I would say culture is the hardest one to do. It is the one which people are most cynical about. You may have seen this, Nicky, over the years. There's the broadcasting of a particular culture by a business that is an utter fantasy. They claim to be really open, flexible, cool, lots of progression, and then you talk to people there. It's a living hell. Whips, jobs for the boys, complete discrepancy between the two.
A good example recently was a major bank. I'm not going to say which one. Major bank, at the same time that they were saying how they really cared about their customers and how they're really trying to help them through, and they're there to listen, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
At exactly the same time, there was a person outside their head office literally having a breakdown because he had not been able to get to speak to anybody that could actually help him on his situation.
Yeah.
And it's all videoed. It was absolutely awful.
Awful. And I mean, the other great example I think that was in the news recently, which we can be open about, was Brewdog. When your former employees and your senior staff are grouping together to write an open letter in The Guardian, I think it was, that things have gone very badly wrong.
I missed that.
Oh, yeah. No, you can look that up. That's a great example. Oh, Brewdog was apparently a toxic work culture. And obviously it's got this punk, anti-establishment vibe going on. And then inside, apparently, it was hell. It was jobs for the boys.
Oh, I'm going to have to look that up because everything I see is always positive about them.
Exactly. And I don't know about everyone else out there. I am now a cynic. I do not really trust what the advert says, what the recruitment page says. It's like, I'll go to Glassdoor, I'll talk to people, I'll look on social media. They reckon 45 to 55% of people will look at a social media page as part of their research about a business and will be influenced on whether or not to work for them based on what they see. So your culture is hugely important, but very difficult to get across.
Although Glassdoor can be a bit hit and miss because you're going to have inevitably you're going to have some annoyed ex-employees for various reasons.
You are. The danger is
you need to have the balance.
You need the balance, but the danger is if you haven't got anything else out there apart from your jobs page and Glassdoor, And Glassdoor, as you say, is always skewed to the negative.
Yeah.
That's the view people will have, and they ain't going to trust your company page, or they're less likely to. They'll trust Glassdoor more, so they're left with that impression. So you've got to take control of your EVP and make sure it's getting out to be what you want. So culture is hugely important, and it's about the things we kind of talked about already: trust and empowerment. Flexible working is a great indicator of that. But you've also got the collaboration.
Sorry. And how? What do you think is the most effective way to get it out there?
Well, I'll come on to that in a second.
Oh, sorry,
okay, it's all right.
Getting too
it's all right.
excited.
I'm just going to round off the last one because culture. Massively important.
Yes.
The other part of it is the mission. What's the point of the business? Why does this business exist? I saw one recently. There was a recruitment company that was brought. It was like Wolf of Wall Street. They were chanting and pumping their fists up and down at the start of the day. And if that's their culture, that's okay. That's their mission. Their mission is to make a crap ton of money for themselves. Yeah. And by putting that out,
go to clubs at night.
Yeah, all of those things. I can almost guarantee what it would be like to work there. Yeah. And that's their culture. Someone else's culture is to say I work for somebody whose their mission is to help the energy transformation save the world. And that's what they believe in. And the way they act reflects that. The mission, the reason for working there, that's another big part of the culture. As long as how people treat each other within the business and what you're all there for, that's culture to me. And the final one is environment. Where's the office? What's it like to work there? What are the communication systems in place? What's the technology I've got access to? Bottom of the pile, but it still means a lot to a lot of people because if they're coming from somewhere where those things don't exist.
Yeah, it also depends. That is, I think that's very important for who you're recruiting. So if you want, young, funky people and you need to be on, Savile Row or in Soho or wherever, and they can, just, fall out into the bar or shopping or whatever else it is there, that's very different to like our Reading office. So our London office, completely different vibe to our Reading office. Reading office in the middle of almost nowhere, so less traffic, so it's a pleasant commute, easy to drive. It's you're attracting different people to who you're wanting to attract in the London one.
Yes, exactly. And I think what you've done there, Nicky, is move me smoothly on to how you promote it. Well done. It's like we're pros. So I think one of the first things you've got to do before you even start thinking about how to promote it is you have got to segment up who you're trying to promote to. I spoke earlier just about kind of the three grades. There's the early career stage, mid-career stage, late career stage. They're going to have three very different needs. Their attitude to development, environment, and culture are going to massively differ.
Need three different brochures.
You almost need three different brochures. You need three different voices.
Yeah.
And social media is a great example of how you can start to differentiate this. Number one, your mid to late career people, they are more likely to be on LinkedIn, maybe Twitter, depending upon your market. Whereas your younger grads are probably also on LinkedIn and Twitter, but TikTok, YouTube, those places are also going to play a big part. They'll gravitate there when they come to research your business.
I've just thought of a question as well. So people that are listening out there, what is the part of the EVP that attracted you to where you are? Was it, the office, the vibe, the culture? What was it? Let share it out. That would be interesting to see. And Nigel, now you know what an EVP is. You can now answer that question.
Yes, thank you, Nigel.
Thanks, Nigel.
I feel bad that I never told you that before.
I know, naughty,
keeping it to myself. So social media is one of the best ways to get your EVP out there because it is a case of show, don't tell. I'm a great believer in show, don't tell. Your website, your job ads is telling someone, this is our culture. That's very easy to say. Like I said, the cynics of the world, me included, view that with a pinch of salt. Whereas your social media posts, if they are done in the right way, and I'll talk about that in a second, should be showing what your culture, what your development opportunities are, what your environment is that you guys work in. It's much harder to fake. Like if it's out there on LinkedIn, in Twitter, in the other way, in TikTok, then it must be true. You can't consistently fake it. That's kind of that, and that ticks a box for people. It can offset Glassdoor and all those things. So social media, go where people are, but also you can create different spin-off brands. LinkedIn, you can have pages underneath your business. So
Yep.
you could spin off. I think you have that with Gorange, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
The BBC is a great
Still not
example
using
of
it as much as we want to, but yeah, made a
Yeah.
start.
But you can do it for the career stage. So the BBC has a Twitter handle for BBC Careers, but it
Yeah.
has another one for very early stage people looking to get into media, BBC Get In. So they have taken the attitude, rather than trying to have one channel that tries to talk to two groups,
Mm-hmm.
experienced and new, they just split the two in half. So all of the stuff that's aimed at complete beginners in the world of media goes on the Get In, and the rest goes on the main Twitter page. You can do exactly the same with LinkedIn. You can have the sub pages. You can have a sub page for new starters, branded up in some clever wordplay, and then your LinkedIn your normal LinkedIn is more focused towards the mid and the senior tier. Cut it however works for your particular industry, but just do try and cut it up and have different experiences for all of them. I think there's no shame in putting a little bit of money behind the social media posts as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to get things out, if you're not
Get them promoted a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Company pages don't tend to be well followed.
No, absolutely, definitely. Definitely in professional services, you find that individual key partners and things may have thousands, tens of thousands of followers.
Yes.
The actual company or LLP page, whatever, not so much.
Less so, yeah. So you can throw a little bit. I mean, £100 will get you several thousand views on a video that you maybe pump out there, just enough to start creating a presence in the marketplace. But then what you also talked about there, Nicky, is the importance of not just doing this work from your company page. You need to encourage and allow the staff, senior all the way down to junior, to also post content that talks about what it is like to be there.
A really useful one, sorry interrupting, but really useful thing that Kirsty did for us recently was she interviewed all of our trainees to say, what do you like about Gorange? What is it like to work there, etc. Put that into a lovely little video for there, and honestly that is getting some of our biggest views, because especially as we're doing our 21 graduate training, the graduates are able to look on and say, well, that's what, it's all very well me what I say, but what does Bethan say, or Tori say, or Nishka or Alicia or whoever else? It's good to see.
Yeah, and if I know Kirsty and the work she does with video,
indeed,
I imagine that video
you
is
might
not
slightly know her.
Vaguely. There's a connection. Yeah, can one ever know Kirsty Ames? Who knows? So I think what she will probably have done is it won't be heavily edited. There's not going to be that twingly twangly music and lots of. It will be, if the guys stumble over their words or they don't say something quite right, that's the video that goes out.
Yes.
Big thing on social media is authenticity. We tend, and those of you watching who are from a bigger corporate, this can be quite hard. We want to be refined and controlled, but actually that's the thing that kickstarts the cynicism. It's like, this has been through a committee of several people. How true is it? Don't know. Whereas when it's a bit shaky on a camera phone, and somebody stumbles over the words and just doesn't quite say it in an eloquent way, that comes across as very true.
Yeah.
So I think allow people to be genuine, and that does come with a little bit of risk. Social media people can be very nervous about, but if you want your EVP out there and you want to show you trust your staff, you need to actually trust them. That's going to be a big part. And then the thing I would look for is stories. Social media is all about stories. So posting videos of a night out, or following on from a big training day, talking about the training. You've got lots of things together. The team that studies together, plays together, that's an element of your culture. The fact that you've all been on a course, that's an element of your EVP. So looking for the stories.
Interesting type of courses and things. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because actually people are sometimes surprised at, because obviously accountants, they always think, well, of course we'll be doing loads and loads of tax courses and audit things and all that, which we obviously do. But it's often a surprise that we do probably just as much training on culture, time management, presentation,
what are called the soft skills,
all of those things. Yeah
exactly. So promoting that, so getting the guys to write, or the guys and the girls, to write about that they've just been on that course and what they've learned. Encourage them to post that, natively themselves without getting too heavily involved in the editing. Posting group shots, mid-training, end of training, that kind of stuff. It's showing, not telling people that that's what you do. Another big piece, I think, for me
Nigel
is
just wants to re-emphasize, all of that, what you've just said is very powerful. Obviously helps overall branding too, but isn't this hard for small companies to adapt? Oh, what do you think? Is it hard?
I don't think it is really, because it's if you're not doing training, that's not part of your brand. If part
Yeah.
of your brand is that you come in and you learn off the cuff, you learn from sitting at the seat, sitting at the foot of Nigel while he does his thing, then that's what you should be promoting. But when it comes to whatever, that's what I was saying earlier, your EVP is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't
Well, one of
fake
our
it.
things that's always been powerful and been a surprise for some people that have come is the fact that we make sure that everybody in the business is customer facing. You're not in a back room knocking out the accounts and giving it to a partner and never actually seeing a client. Everybody is involved. They wouldn't be in our business if couldn't have a conversation with a client, and that has been quite attractive for some people.
Yes, it
Not
has.
for others. Nigel was link to nightclub pics. Wow, indeed.
Not publicly available, Nigel, but yeah, I'll do what I can for you.
Bethan's got a comment as well. Looking forward to hearing more social media tips. Yeah, so she's, she was one of our early ones onto to some of our vlogs. So yeah, excellent. She's keen to hear. So
Okay.
that's good.
We'll get some more. I'm just going to keep rattling through, and then I'll try and end on a few practical
4
tips.
minutes.
Excellent. Yeah,
Roll
4
it.
minutes. Okay. The other one, the big one, the one that's often untapped, is taking advantage of media. So, for example, if you've got a development program you're really proud of, or a mentoring program you're really proud of, reach out to the many, many podcasters, websites, bloggers, webinar hosters who are interested in what it is to have a great mentoring program, what it's like to go through a good training program early in your career as an accountant. There's lots of people out there. Take points, try and arrange for your staff, senior, mid-tier or low, to guest appear on some of these things, because that's another way that kind of just reduces some of that. It would take serious cojones to go and talk about those kind of things on those platforms if it was utterly untrue. So it just builds confidence in people that is the EVP, and it broadens your horizon. If you were to get a guest spot on Accounting Web talking about your graduate program, it's going to reach everybody in that space. It's going to convey your EVP to exactly the people you wanted to do. So take advantage of other people's platforms to convey the stories about what you are doing that really reinforce your EVP is what it is.
Yeah. Piggyback.
And in your senior people should be talking about what you're doing as a business, the mission.
Yes.
How are you delivering what you really stand for? It helps raise their profile, going back to the development piece, and it just makes everyone in the market aware. And I think, like Nigel said earlier, it's helpful for the overall branding as well. So getting that kind of stuff out there is super important.
You do need to make sure that you've got a mix of people that are happy to do things like this. So yeah, Guy, looking forward to you being here, because I know that you like doing this type of stuff too. So fabulous. Share the load.
So I think to just end, I'd give two pieces of advice. Number one, if you're not sure what your EVP is, start talking to your staff. Do anonymous surveys initially, but at some point you're going to have to go and talk to people and ask them around development, around environment, around culture. What do you think we're good at? Why are you here? Why do you stick with us? Well, because you invest, you let me. Whatever it is that comes back from them, that is your EVP. That's the reason they're staying. And that's going back to what Nigel was saying. You don't have to do anything besides find out what it already is and then talk about it. So number one.
Do that this afternoon then.
Perfect. Sorry, guys, from the team watching. It's just giving you more work. But then flip it all the way over to the other side. You want to know what external people view your EVP as early on. So if you are using recruiters, they should be able to tell you. The good ones will do it for you. The really great ones will offer it to you. They will be able to say part of the search is, what is our standing in the candidate pool? What did those people, senior, mid-tier, whatever it is, think about us when you speak to them? So even if you don't get anywhere with a candidate, they're not interested, at least I want you to gather, how would you rate us out of 10? Something as simple as that. Go to your former colleagues, people who've left the business. There's been a little bit of distance. It's not whatever happened isn't raw, and just say, what do you think it was? You'll get a very honest answer. So
I've got a few coffees with a couple ex-employees shortly. So, yeah.
Yep.
It's
So I'd
always
start
good.
with those two.
I always try to keep in touch with everybody.
Yeah, it is. You never know when people might come back. Within
Yeah.
reason. There's always one or two.
Reason.
Always one or two. So those are my two big tips. Really.
Fantastic. Wow, lots to munch on, lots of practical things to do. So, the key thing is the EVP is already there. You just need to go and talk to it's already there. You just need to talk to your team to check what it is. Once you know what it is, communicate, tell everybody.
Yeah.
Vlog it, podcast it.
Yeah. Break it down.
Write it up.
If you claim there's something of value, if you claim you develop people, you need to be able to prove it. If you can prove it, you've got stories. If you've got stories, you've got social media content, you've got media content.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Great tips, as Nigel says.
Yeah,
Nigel's
thank you, Nigel.
Regular. In fact, Nigel's going to be on here in a few weeks' time. But Pete, you won't believe I am organised. I know who the next 4 speakers are.
I'm super proud. Proud and impressed.
Because I didn't know that 2 days ago. So that's very impressive. So to everyone watching, next week we are having a guest from Macbeth's. They're still, fighting over who wants to do it. So, so very keen. So for any business owners and managers out there, professional indemnity is a real key area at the moment. Some of the cost is going through the roof. Some providers are not even doing it. So we've got expert from Macbeth's about, how do you get the best deal? How do you make sure you have the right to cover, etc., etc. Might be perhaps not the most interesting thing on insurance, but it's going to potentially save you a lot of money, and it's essential. You need it.
I read Nigel Elk's post recently about when he didn't have enough cover.
Yes, don't do a Nigel. Yeah, don't do a Nigel. Go and watch. Go on LinkedIn. Read one of his posts. Absolutely, you'll know why we say don't do a Nigel regarding it wasn't professional indemnity. It was about another type of insurance, but it wasn't insurance. Yes, fabulous. Thank you so much, Pete. Wonderful.
Thank you, Nicky.
As always.
Been a pleasure.
Fantastic. Enjoy the afternoon. Hopefully, soon. Well, there's great tips there. So, everyone back there, thank you very much for watching. And as always, please do feedback. Pete and myself both on LinkedIn, so do feel free to contact us anytime. And we're delighted to hear your comments and any questions. And cheerio.
Cheerio. Bye.
Oh, I can't find my hand. Cheerio. Bye.